coming over here anyway.
Hotel brothers and sisters, Black Power. As always, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors. Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul, of the Street Law Soldiers. My father, my in-laws, my sister, and all those who are in the ancestral realm, as well as my subscribers, my viewers, my donors, my supporters, Street Law Soldiers, family, friends, and all those who are fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. Today, I'm going to be discussing just briefly some things that I had told y'all that I was going to talk about as far as the Tupac assassination. You know, if you can see, I'm rocking Pac with me today, and it's no Ascension Day. It's not his born day or anything like that. It's just, you know, we cannot forget about these brothers and sisters. We must keep our warriors and our gods and goddesses in our hearts and minds, in our daily walks. So, you know, as we all know who Tupac was, Tupac Shakur, whose name was Lassane Crooks. He was born Lassane Crooks before his name was changed. His mother, Afeni Shakur, was a straight revolutionary, part of the Panther 21, that went to prison for the attempting bombing of all these buildings in New York, and spent about 10 years in prison before being found and being acquitted of all charges. Deruba Ben Wahad, who was also part of the Panther 21, who did time with Afeni. But nevertheless, she was pregnant while incarcerated and gave birth to Tupac. And so let's talk about some things. This is Aaliyah, Pac, and Biggie. Three important people, three iconic faces, people in hip hop that took hip hop and rap to a whole new level, a whole different level, to the point where people around them became jealous and developed a heavy degree of hatred for all of them. You know, all three of them were murdered. All three of them were murdered with the participation on someone that they thought that was close to them. And so we want to keep all of our warriors and gods and goddesses in our hearts. You know, because the Tupac Biggie feud was really it really wasn't nothing. It was really business, because Pac was finished after he did hit him up. He was basically finished with that bad boy going back and forth. You know, but the media, these white snow monkeys in the media, MTV, VH1, BET, added fuel to the fire to try to give life to this situation, in which resulted in the murders of Tupac and Biggie. And the plans that Tupac had were very, very promising. After every CD sale, he was building a community shelter, a drug program, a rehab where they could feed people, and also paramilitary training for our young black males and females. And the Panthers had agreed, the Crips and Bloods had agreed to become Panthers under the leadership of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, Tupac Shakur, Steve Coakley, and others. in which that he became a threat to national security. And, when, it's something when a 25-year-old brother, knowing he's getting ready to make his ascension, he knows he's going out of here based on the hatred and jealousy people around him had. So he stayed in the studio. He put a lot of things to the side, fucking all these women and, flashing, flossing and all that bullshit. He stayed in the studio and he tried to do cuts with so many different people. Wu-Tang, Big Daddy Kane. Here he is right there with Bones Thugs and Harmony. Now people are under impression that Suge Knight had Tupac killed, which was not the case. Now, I'm not saying that once Pac left Death Row for good, that Suge was going to make an attempt on his life. But Suge was not the one that was responsible for the murder of Tupac. He was not the one. No matter what you may think, even though Suge Knight is a big, greasy, bloated, gelatin-ass motherfucking pig that was too dumb to realize that he had a multi-billion dollar empire. But when you're all brawn and no brains, these type of things happen. Your dreams can just slip it right through your fingers. Pac, when he was shot the first time, which was a setup, Andre Harrell, Diddy, and all these faggots set him up to be murdered at Quad Studio in New York. And the thing about a lot of people don't know, Pac was armed. He had a 9 on him. And what happened, I don't believe he was able to retrieve his weapon, because he probably would have murdered those 2 or 3 guys that robbed and shot him 5 times. Now, Pac fell asleep mentally on this nigga here. Poop dog. Pussy cat. There's no bark in this motherfucker, let alone any bite. He was a charlatan. He was a creepy, sneaky motherfucking rat who put his hand into the pot, the assassination plot of Tupac Shakur. And Pac really loved Snoop, but Snoop didn't really care for him because Snoop was jealous. When Snoop had that Doggy Style CD came out and went platinum, and he thought he was the biggest thing since white bread. And when Pac came out of jail and just put the whole rap game on fucking smash, Snoop began to start feeling some type of way like a fucking woman. And Pac hooked up with Dr. Khalid Muhammad. They did a couple of speaking engagements together. Pac really loved Dr. Khalid because on the White Man's World song on the Machiavelli album, you will hear an excerpt of Dr. Khalid speaking. And so, the plans that they had for black liberation and to raise the consciousness of black men and women, specifically black men, would have been amazing. The homosexual population among black males would have been so low had these brothers lived. because they had zero tolerance for that shit. Pac loved Malcolm. He seen what Malcolm went through. He began to understand Malcolm more than he did in school. He studied Malcolm. He studied Dr. King. And his mother gave him the oratory skills. She used to make him read the New York Times as punishment when he done something wrong as a youth, as a kid. And that's how one of the reasons why Pac became so articulate. Because Pac took himself back to his ancestors in the form of his ancestors. As you can see this picture here, he's a slave, you know, with his 40 acres and a mule. So that lets you know the type of knowledge this brother had at such a young age. Pac was trying to explain the East Coast, West Coast beef thing. And as you can see, Snoop is so full of, he's a fucking hater. He is a fucking hater. And he was after Pac. He wanted Pac dead. Because people loved Pac. Women loved him. You know, Pac could electrify the crowd, you know, at his live concerts. And Snoop knew this. That's why you see the look on his face. That's the look of a hater. Now, this is what one of the things I want to show y'all. Now, supposedly this was the last picture of Pac taken. Now, I want y'all to pay close attention to this. Now, if they were at a stoplight, why isn't a red light or a green light or a yellow light reflecting the front windshield if they were at a traffic light when this photo was taken? Now, they appear to be driving, right? But if you look real closely, there's no fucking key in the ignition. Let me show you again. There is no key in the ignition. If you look real closely, you will see right there that there's no key in the ignition. No key in the ignition. So, how were they able to drive with no key? And if it was a startup car that was push button, it wouldn't have a key ignition in the vehicle. Now, if you look at the picture of Pac, that's not really him. It looks so photoshopped that it looks like his face was pasted together. Now, if you look at Suge, look at the way Suge Knight is looking. Look how he's looking with his leg up in the air. Now, the right leg is the leg he uses to hit the gas and the brakes. Now, why is his right leg, his hand is almost sitting on his knee? So how was he able to drive the car? So, now, if you look at the date that the picture was taken, the film from this picture, the date it was taken, it says September the 8th, 1996. Now, this is, Pac was shot on the 7th. Now, how could this picture been taken the following night? Because as you can see, the film, which cannot lie, says 9/8/96. That's a day after Tupac was supposedly been shot. So this is just something for you all to look at. And this is one of the reasons why so many people believe that Pac is still alive. Now, I'll say this. Now, at the Pentagon, under the Pentagon, there's 13 floors under the Pentagon where they have farmland, they have a shopping center, they have a mall, they have grass, they have animals. This is 13 levels under the Pentagon. The reason it was established initially was for the event if the president or the White House was bombed or destroyed, because it's an underground road that goes from the White House to the Pentagon under the Potomac River. And in the event that is a catastrophe where the entire world is under an apocalypse, there's certain government officials will be able to survive 13 floors under the Pentagon. You know, and that's the reason I say that, because if they wanted to fake Pac's death, he could have been easily taken to these underground locations. Now, they said that one guy, Lando Anderson, stuck his gun out the car at the traffic light, which the BMW is not at the light. If you can see this picture, there's no reflection, meaning the car's isolated, and Suge was supposed to have drove on the curb and all this type of stuff. But how can one person put nearly 30 holes in this car before the car pulled off? Just something to think about. You know, my personal opinion, I believe the brother's gone based on the fact that crackers wanted him gone. Now, if crackers want you out of here, they have no reason to keep you, because you have become a threat to national security. And the black community could have saved this brother. This Ice 8, this snow monkey right here, this cave bitch, she stated that Tupac was taken to the hospital in Vegas by helicopter. But Unsolved Mysteries and so many other people are lying, saying that he was taken by ambulance. But if you look at if you watch the video footage of how these white bitches explain, because they have no reason to lie, because they don't know anything about rap, and they were out there just gambling, doing the Vegas scene, probably went to the fight. Nevertheless, they stated that it was a helicopter that landed and flew Tupac to the hospital. Now, the reason why I say, you know, Suge Knight is a brainless motherfucker is because if he had Tupac, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, you know, right there was a multi-billion-dollar empire with just those three. Just those three. Dre, you know, being the number one hit maker and producer, black producer of all time. Snoop Dogg, who had went platinum, double platinum, and Tupac, who everything he touched turned to gold in terms of music. But Suge Knight wanted to be something that he wasn't, which was a toy blood. As you can see how happy Snoop is. But if it wasn't for Pop at the House of Blues that night, who really took the show, put the show on smash, and brung the best out of Snoop, he wouldn't be looking like he's looking, which he's nothing but a drug addict. You all can try to, and crackers try to give him a pass. They give him a pass for his participation in having Pac murdered. Tupac was articulate. He was able to talk to a government official and at the same time talk to a street nigga. With the same type of strength, class, and finesse. Snoop was just a play crip. He really wasn't crippin'. Pac and Jada were more like brother and sister. Even though they had feelings for one another. Jada being the opportunist because she ended up with Will Smith. And for her, that was like hitting a jackpot. But her heart was with Tupac. And she tried to be, so controlling over this brother's life. But Pac being the sensitive person he was, didn't buck against Jada. Now they taking Suge Knight through the ringer, even though he ran over that brother with that truck at the shooting, the filming of Straight Outta Compton. You ran that brother over with a truck. And you thought you would be able to get away with it. But David Kenner and none of them could get you out of this shit. Because you have been stamped as one of the co-spirators in the assassination of Pac. Kadada Jones, who her and Pac had some plans. They were going to do a lot. But at the same time, Pac was hard-headed and stubborn because Kadada wanted Pac to go to Atlanta. The plan was to go to Atlanta, get a house built there, and start your One Nation record label. And so I believe, I think they would have made it a good couple. I think they would have had a small family, 2 or 3 children, based on what Pac always talked about in his lyrics. And I think that's what Kadada wanted. Frank Alexander, who was Tupac's right-hand man. He was Tupac's bodyguard, but he was more than a bodyguard. He was a big brother. He was a friend. And he tried to protect Pac with his life. He tried to do the best to protect Pac. But Pac being the person that he is, Pac wanted things done his way. And so, this motherfucking piece of shit nigga here. See, when Pac passed, a lot of these niggas, just like when Biggie was murdered, P. Diddy started putting, he really came out of his, out of the closet with his gay shit. He wasn't doing that around Biggie. He wasn't doing it around Biggie, even though Biggie had plans on, creating his own label. But when Pac left, Snoop, who ran, he scared to death of Suge Knight, hauled ass down New Orleans under Master P's nuts, and began talking shit to Suge. you know, which Snoop is a CI. He's a confidential informant. Now, how can you be a Crip, regular Crip on the street, become a famous rapper, and then all of a sudden you're a number 2 man, just like Steve Harvey was. Bernie Mac was number 1. Steve Harvey, they had to get rid of Bernie so Steve Harvey could be the number 1 man. And he wasn't half the man as Bernie. And it's the same way with this shit. A Crip hosting the Joker's Wild on TV, cooking with Martha Stewart. He's allowed to smoke drugs any way he wants to. But when he was a little bitch, when he was a little fucking bitch that he is, when he had that murder charge, he had 2 murder cases, and what happened? 2 of the limousine drivers took the charges for Snoop. You know, he was a fucking little pussy, as you can see right here in the courtroom. And then all of a sudden, he cripping. He's cripping. You know, now he has on red. And then now he's Snoop Lion. He's a fucking Jamaican. You know, make up your mind. Make up your mind. You cripping or you bleeding? Or you a fucking Rastafarian? Look at this motherfucker. He's on the reel with these old plastic motherfuckers. You know, Tia Mowry and all these other ice monkey loving motherfucking hoes. You know, even the fat cow that plays on there that tries to be so in that she went as far as sucking on an Ice Age dick. This big, fat, white, raw, hairy back, Neanderthal, cave living, crawling on all fours, motherfucking mountain dog. Just to get approval and to fit in with these motherfucking snap together motherfucking action figure plastic motherfucking hoes who hate blacks. The Dog Pound, Corrupt and Daz. You know, Daz is supposed to be Snoop's cousin, which doesn't mean shit. You know, Corrupt, who was dating Foxy Brown, who was very, very physically abusive to her. You know, because Corrupt was an alcoholic that was abusive. And also, Pac said he wasn't being around those sellout niggas, meaning Snoop and the Dog Pound. Frank Alexander. Now, Frank Alexander, who wrote the book, Got Your Back, about his time that he spent with Pac. When he was about to reveal some things concerning who was involved in Pac's murder, this was 2016, I believe. Frank Alexander was found in his home with a gunshot wound to the head, which police denied that it was suicide at first. But when they got whiff of who he was, that he was about to expose some LA cops, they went on and pushed the paper, the suicide papers. But this brother had a ranch with horses. He was living good. He had a hefty, large bank account that would last him for the rest of his life. It was no way that he committed suicide. But this is what they do in the industry. You know, Pac knew that. You know, and the thing about Pop was that he was too generous to the wrong people. He trusted the wrong motherfucking people. Yeah, here's Biggie, Puffy, up in New York with Snoop in the middle, smoking. This was after the New York video that Snoop and the Dog Pound made, when they recorded it in New York, stepping on the World Trade Center and all this, you know, crushing New York. The trailer was shot later on that evening, and that turned Snoop into a cold pussy. Because he ended up saying how much he loved Diddy and Biggie and New York and all this shit, you know, and Diddy had him come up there and break bread with him. This is the betrayal that Snoop did to Pop. And when Snoop was on Angie Martinez, he said he loved Biggie and Puffy. This was why while East Coast, West Coast shit was going on. And this is what turned Pac off of Snoop. Because Pac and Biggie were going to mend their differences. You know, it wouldn't have been long, maybe a month or two later down the line, they were going to mend their differences. So, this is Biggie, autopsy photo of Biggie. He was murdered. It was just collateral damage. P. Diddy set that up, rode behind him, and after Biggie was shot, Diddy pulled off and ran through 2 or 3 stoplights. And why would you set that brother up like that, as far as getting him to go to California, knowing that the East Coast, West Coast beef had ensued to the point where Pac lost his life? And so the West Coast didn't want anything to do with the East Cost. And Diddy knew this. That's why he brought Biggie down there. He knew that would get him murdered. You know, but Diddy, working with the FBI, agreed to have Biggie murdered. Just to keep the pressure off the LAPD, Las Vegas police, and the FBI. Keep the pressure and the focus off of them. They use